Alrighty, YouTube Niner Empire, what is going down? Welcome back to another video. So yesterday on Good Morning Football, Jared McCoy, former longtime NFL defensive tackle, went on Good Morning Football and talked about what the 49ers can do moving forward, how they turn things around, and all in all, how they get back to the basics of 49ers football that everybody knows. So I know it's going to be hard for you guys to see this, but I'm going to play this clip on what Gerald McCoy said yesterday regarding the 49ers getting back on track.
We have bad stretches. Most coaches I dealt with would come into the team meeting and say, "Hey, fellas, listen, let's get back to our fundamentals." Okay. I listened to Kyle Shanahan after they lost to the Bengals, and he said, "We've gotten away from who we are. We're not tackling well. We're not running the ball well, and Brock has turned the ball over." So as simple as that. Get back to fundamentals. They haven't been able to rush the ball, run the ball like they had before. They was averaging 156 yards a game. Now they down to 95. They get
Averaging 150 yards a game rushing, now they're down to 95. So clearly the 49ers have, in a way, gotten, moved away from the run game in some shape or form. Obviously, after watching the first
behind the sticks.
after watching the last, 3 games or so, I think it's definitely clear to say that the 49ers have not had the type of run game that, I know and I'm sure everybody out there else knows. So that's a good point as well. I mean, obviously, getting back to running the football and doing what you do best is always going to be key for the 49ers. That's key for every team. You have to do what you do best. You look at a team like the Chiefs, I mean, their offense is a straight air raid. It goes through Patrick Mahomes, and they don't shy away from it. And I get that's kind of such a cliche, example, but you look at the Jacksonville Jaguars too. Like they're more of probably a pass-heavy team. They've ran the football over, the course of this season, probably more than I've seen them run in the past couple seasons, thanks to Travis Etienne having a fairly good year. But, I mean, all in all, with the Jacksonville Jaguars, you look at their team, and it's like, they're a red-hot team, also coming off of a bye week. They haven't lost since September. They've won both games in both of their international games. So it's just like, when you look at the 49ers, the offense runs through Christian McCaffrey. Ever since he's been traded here, it's ran through Christian McCaffrey. But when you have a strong run game like the 49ers have, that opens up play-action plays. That sets Brock Purdy, up for success in this offense.
They getting behind the sticks a lot. If you want to make Brock Purdy be comfortable and do what everybody has been saying he can do, which is being a really good quarterback, you got to help him out. They got to run the ball, and they have to take care of the ball. But then also they have
big.
on defense, they haven't been tackling well, and they haven't been getting to the quarterback. So if they want to get back on track, just get back to your fundamentals. Don't panic. Run the ball. Kyle Shanahan even said, "Hey, listen, that's my fault. I got away from us running the ball. Run the ball. You have arguably the greatest running back in the league right now. Use him. Debo Samuel coming back and help. Put him in the backfield. Give Christian McCaffrey a rest. A little change of pace, but just get back to the fundamentals. Run the ball. Play great defense. Don't turn the ball over."
There is a sense of like, let's just hold on, everybody take a deep breath. Let's be us.
So, yeah, I mean, obviously, with the 49ers, they've been known to be dominant in the run game for over the course of really ever since Kyle Shanahan has came in, and had success with this 49ers team in terms of like, getting to NFC championships, Super Bowls. Like you look going back to the 2019 Super Bowl run. I mean, the 49ers were a deadly force to be reckoned with in the run game. Raheem Mostert, I believe either in the NFC, I believe that was the NFC Championship game, but Raheem Mostert had like 220 yards, a pair of touchdowns that game. Tevin Coleman was heavily involved, obviously in the playoffs that year, and really in all reality in the season in general. So, yeah, I mean, you look at, the 49ers, and it's like Brock Purdy has been in situations. Look, the 49ers are like, they haven't won a game when down by at least 5 points or trailing by at least 5 points going into the fourth quarter. I believe they're also like 0-29 when leading by 7 or more points or something like that. Don't quote me on that, but it's some crazy stat like when the 49ers are trailing going into halftime by 5 to 7 points or more, they don't win the game. I mean, it's statistically proven that they can't win when they're down. And obviously, going into the fourth quarter, they also haven't won a game when trailing by like 5 to 7 points, going into that fourth quarter as well. So, look, I mean, when you look back and really dissect the past 3 games, the past 3 losses that the 49ers have, there's a common denominator here, and that's simply been defenses have found a way to put the game on Brock Purdy. And clearly, it's not Brock Purdy's. I'm not saying, that Brock Purdy is to blame for all 3 of these losses, because clearly, if you guys have watched, my stuff I've uploaded about, post-game reaction videos and things of that nature, these losses that the 49ers have been collective team losses. It's not, you can't really point your finger at one guy or a coach in particular. Kyle Shanahan's been bad. Steve Wilkes has been bad, but the players have also been bad. The players haven't, made the necessary plays to put us in a better position to win football games. So, yeah, I mean, like I said, when you really, if you look at the 49ers, the way their offense has success and the way their offense has had so much success in the past is because it's been a very balanced offense in general, but the run game has kind of been the main thing that has helped the 49ers, over the course of 3-4 years. And then obviously when you trade for Christian McCaffrey, a high caliber player like McCaffrey is, clearly that's taken this run game and the run game and the passing game as far as the running backs go. It's taken, ever since the Niners have traded for CMC, it's taken their running back, play to a completely different level. And obviously that was expected, when the 49ers traded for Christian McCaffrey. But all in all, I think the biggest thing with the 49ers has been they haven't been able to get back to what they do best, and that is having a strong run game and things of that nature. And it's like when teams put the 49ers in a one-dimensional situation, like kind of it has happened, the past 3 losses. But when you put the 49ers in that situation, being a one-dimensional team, it's tough. Clearly, Brock Purdy's not a finished product. I think everybody is aware of that and knows that. He's not a finished product. He's still growing. This is his first full year as the 49ers starting quarterback. And there's going to be times like, seems like everybody hating on Brock Purdy just seems as if he's a finished product. And I'm sure there's people out there that have been hating on Brock Purdy, that don't think that way in terms of like him being a finished product. But at the end of the day, there's going to be growing pains with Brock Purdy. Quarterbacks are going to struggle. Look at Josh Allen. He's one of the more elite quarterbacks in the league. He is an elite quarterback. I think when it's all said and done, he's in that top 5, arguably a top 3 conversation as being one of the best in the league. But Josh Allen's also leading the league in interceptions since 2018. And obviously, with the Buffalo Bills, they're sitting at a record of, I believe, 5-3 going into this Sunday game against the Denver Broncos. All right, that may be the Monday night game. Either way, you guys get the point. Like, Josh Allen has struggled. But when you look at a team like Buffalo, they also don't have as loaded as a roster as the 49ers do. They're not a team. they're more of a team that's like Kansas City, that's more of an air raid offense. Buffalo has never really been a team to have an insane strong run game. They did back then, before the Josh Allen era, but during the Josh Allen era, knowing what type of quarterback he is, the Buffalo Bills have been a straight air raid offense. So it's going back to what Gerald McCoy said. It's all about finding your identity, limiting turnovers, of course, and doing what you do best. And over the course of these past 3 weeks, the 49ers haven't been able to do what they do best good at all. So obviously going into this Jacksonville game and going into the games for the remainder of the year, all these games are going to be about the 49ers getting back to who they are and getting back to that identity that they have. Obviously, Jared McCoy said it. I mean, the 49ers, they haven't been able to they have kind of shied away from their strengths. And I give credit to a lot of the defenses that the 49ers have faced. The Vikings played very well against Brock Purdy and the 49ers offense. Cleveland Browns, going into that game and seeing that one live, before the game, you look at the Cleveland Browns defense, and it's like, we get that their secondary is loaded. We get that they have, a game wrecker in Myles Garrett, but you think with who the 49ers have on offense that, and obviously, I don't want to touch too much on this game, but, the Browns are without Nick Chubb. The Browns are without their all-pro left guard, or I believe it was their right guard or maybe right tackle. One of their tackles or guards was out of the game. But going into that game, it's like the 49ers are the clear favorite to win the game. But what Cleveland did in that game was they forced San Francisco to shy away from their true identity as far as the run game goes. And that put a lot of pressure on Brock Purdy to make necessary plays needed in order for the 49ers to win the game. And it's like, looking back at the game, Brock Purdy didn't play well, but at the same time, the 49ers were also in a situation where, they were more of a one-dimensional team. They had to rely more on Brock Purdy, and when you have to rely more on a younger guy, there's a lot of pressure on Brock Purdy at that point in time. And I get, being an NFL quarterback and proving yourself as being able to carry the team to wins and do the necessary things, to win the football game for your team if your run game's not working. But again, Brock Purdy is not a finished product. There's going to be times where he's not able to put the game, on his back. We've seen this, though. We've seen, Brock Purdy put games, he's put the team on his back and carried, the team to wins. And he's played at a high level, during the times that he's did so. So, it's one of them things where, like, there's a common denominator for every single 49ers loss that there's been this season. Obviously, they've came, back to back to back. They haven't won a game in a month. Now, obviously, that's kind of a little far-fetched considering they had a bye week, but it's a fact. I mean, the 49ers haven't won in a month, and I think, again, like Gerald McCoy talked about, the biggest thing with the 49ers is being able to get back to what they do best, getting back to their strengths, having that strong run game. And here's another thing, too, and this is an important thing to add. The 49ers haven't had Trent Williams. Obviously, the stat that Jared McCoy talked about, how the 49ers were averaging 156 rushing yards per game, and then, over the course of the last 3 weeks, they've only been averaging 95 to 97 yards rushing per game. I think a lot of that has to do with Trent Williams. I don't think people realize and understand how big of a piece Trent Williams is to this offense. Like, I don't know what his future holds in terms of, like, him retiring and things of that nature. I know there's been chatter about Trent Williams retiring after this upcoming year, but, at the end of the day, like, the 49ers, there's a reason they went out and traded for him. The 49ers traded for him during the offseason. They lost Joe Staley to retirement. And then you look at Trent Williams, and at this point in career, with him being, I believe he's 33 years old, will be 34. The 49ers they clearly have missed Trent Williams during his absence and during the time that he's been gone. So I think a lot of, the run game struggles have had a lot to do with the offensive line not really performing well. And obviously losing Trent Williams, we're not going to have, Aaron Banks for a couple weeks dealing with his turf toe injury. It's going to be tough. The 49ers clearly have the best running back in the National Football League. But at the end of the day, you have to have a good offensive line. Christian McCaffrey can only do so much. And if the offensive line is not performing, at a level in which the 49ers can have a, solid run game, it's going to be tough. I mean, it's going to put more pressure on Brock Purdy. I believe, when Brock Purdy is in these situations as well, I believe it only helps Brock Purdy to become better. But the fact of the matter is, I think the bye week in terms of which week it came at was a perfect time for guys like Brock Purdy, Deebo Samuel, Dre Greenlaw, for those guys to get as healthy as they possibly can. And then when you look at Trent Williams, it's like I talked about this yesterday in a video, but he seemingly has a more serious injury than what it was originally reported as with the low ankle sprain. But yeah, I mean, it's just one of them things where if the 49ers can get back to what they do best, again, it's such a cliche thing to say, but get back to the fundamentals of getting, and I'm not going to say getting pressure on the quarterback, because the 49ers are still a top 3 team when it comes to getting pressures on the quarterback. I believe Nick Bosa is first or second in the league in pressures, but it's not so much about getting pressures on the quarterback. You have to get sacks. That's why the 49ers defense has been so stifling over the course of, the past couple of years. It's because it's been the pass rush. That's why you went out and got Chase Young. Again, the 49ers will be fine moving forward, and I think in the end, they know who they are as a team. Deebo Samuel talked about this earlier this week. So they'll get back to who they are. It's just about getting back to those fundamentals and getting back to what you do best. And I think, with injuries, it's kind of been hard for the 49ers to do that. With or without Trent Williams, though, this team is good enough to beat this Jaguars team. So we don't know if Trent Williams will be out, but, I'm talking in the sense of manner of as if he is out. It doesn't mean that the 49ers can't go in there and have a dominating game. But again, I mean, it's all about how the 49ers respond. Again, this bye week was huge at the considering at the time that it came at. So again, it's going to be interesting to see what the 49ers can do coming out of the bye week. I expect complete different team coming out of the bye week, as it's been the past 3 weeks. I expect changes to the defense. I expect better offensive play with Deebo Samuel coming back. So this team should look a lot different coming out of the bye week. But I think, like Jared McCoy said, the biggest thing with the 49ers is just, it's simple. Get back to the fundamentals, get back to what you do best, and, hopefully something can come out of that, and which I think it will. But again, we just have to see this team get back to who they are and play at a high level like they normally do.